What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video today. And today I will be giving you some tips on how to afford expensive players in Fantasy Premier League, and I'll be telling you about my team. And just so you know, my team and the prices of the players will be in the description below the video if you want to look at it after the video. Okay, so let's get right into this. For my starters at goalkeeper, I have selected Bernd Leno from Fulham. He was only 4.5 million and he averages almost 4 points a match. So I think he's a really great pickup because he's pretty cheap. At my first defender, I have Luke Shaw, 5.5 million. Again, averages 4 points a match, so pretty good for on the point side. But he also is a very creative player, and his crossing and assisting and every once in a while scoring is a great aspect of his game. So that's why I think he's an amazing pickup. After that, for the defense, we have Zinchenko from Arsenal. He averages 3.7 points a match. So again, another great amount of points for a defender. Only 5 million, and he's on a possible championship level team. So yeah, they're definitely getting Champions League football this year, in my opinion. And also they're a title contender, so why not pick them up for a cheap, pick a cheap defender up from them in fantasy. For my last two in the back, we have the Newcastle duo in the back. We have Trippier and Botman. Trippier over 5 points a match, so 5.2 points a match for him. That is great for a defender. He was 6.5 million, but he's definitely a worthy pickup because of his goal scoring on free kicks and his defending and his creativity with passing. So yeah, I definitely get him. And then over to the cheaper twin for Newcastle, I'd say Botman, even though he's not Trippier's quality of a player, he's still a great pickup because he's way less expensive than Trippier, 2 million less expensive at 4.5, but he still averages 3.6 points a match. And with Newcastle on the rise and possibly another Champions League year in the 2023-2024 season, 2024-2025 season, I think Botman is going to just keep getting better. His fantasy value is going to keep going up, so that's why you should pick him up early. So that's my back line for my starters. If you haven't already noticed, well, actually, you wouldn't be able to know, but I'm playing 4-5-1, and I'll explain why in a little bit. So starting in my midfield, we have De Bruyne coming in at 10.5 million, averages 5.7 points a match, which is a great amount, and very consistent player, gets an assist every other game basically. And even though he's on the more expensive side, I definitely say he's a worthwhile pickup. My second midfielder is Martin Odegaard at 8.5 million. He also averages just under 6 points a match, same as De Bruyne, 5.7. And he's just a super creative player who assists and gets goals. So he's just a very worthwhile pickup. And just as I was saying earlier about Zinchenko, Arsenal could definitely win the Prem this year. So yeah. Our third and final Arsenal player on the team is Leandro Trossard. So I sort of took a flyer with him, and he's like a bit of a wild card because we haven't seen him play too much in an Arsenal shirt, but he was great at Brighton, scoring and assisting, and he was only 7 million and averaged over 4 points a match. So yeah, that's why I picked him up. Now moving on to my second to last midfielder, we have Marcus Rashford. Obviously was close to 20 goals last season, and that's amazing for a winger. And coming in at 9 million, so that's a bit on the expensive side, but he almost averaged 6 points a match, so totally worthwhile and a great pickup. And my last midfielder, not the greatest pick ever for points-wise, but, like, for his money, he's a great pickup. So he was only $6 million, and that's Morgan Gibbs-White from Nottingham Forest. He did average just under 4 points a match, which isn't that bad for a player who only costs $6 million, or a midfielder who only costs $6 million. And yeah, I actually picked him up because obviously we got Haaland up top, 14 million, averages 8 points a game, an absolute monster. But yeah, 14 million is a lot of money in fantasy, believe it or not. So yeah, we needed to get that money from somewhere, and mostly I like to say that came from Morgan Gibbs-White. And yeah, so those are our starters. And now I will move on to the bench. So at keeper, we got Vincent Guaita from Crystal Palace coming in at 4.5 million. Honestly, also, I wasn't completely sure whether to start Leno or Guaita. So let me know in the comment section down below who I should start. But I decided to go with Leno because I'd say Fulham's a bit better of a team than Palace. So yeah, Guaita averages 3.7 points a match. And yeah, just a great keeper, even though he doesn't play on the best team. But I always like to have a keeper who starts for their club team, so that, like, if my a keeper who starts for their club team on the bench, so that if my starting keeper gets, like, injured or something, I have a keeper who will get me points. So now for my other 3 bench players, I got a forward in Oliver McBurnie from Sheffield United, and they haven't been up in the Prem for a while, but the last time they were up, I remember McBurnie being an absolute beast and scoring a bunch of goals, so I picked him up. And the last 2 I hadn't really heard of too much, but I picked them up because they're cheap and they scored a couple of points a game. So my second to last bench player, Joachim Andersen on Crystal Palace, 4.5 million. So not too bad price-wise. Only averages 2.5 points a match. But yeah, for his price, not too bad of a player. And last, we got Cameron Archer, 4.5 million as well. He only averages 1 point a game because he doesn't play too much because he's a very young player. And I think maybe as he builds a reputation at Villa, he'll be able to get some more playing time. So then his points for each match will go up. But I just didn't have any money left, so I needed to pick someone. So yeah, that's who I went with as a striker. And I think he's like the cheapest striker in the game, so not actually terrible. And yeah, that's my team. And last thing, just a couple of tips. Don't rush your team when you're picking it, because those transfers, or the free transfers, are very valuable when the actual season starts. And if you want to get expensive players like Haaland or De Bruyne, go with cheaper players who still get points, like Gibbs-White was my example of that at only 6 million. So yeah, just go for cheap players who don't get the most points, but like they can still contribute to your team so that you can get expensive players like Haaland. I hope you win your league and do the best you can, maybe win some money. But yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.